All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Taryn Strickland back again with the North Carolina Athletic Trainers Association Public Relations Committee. And for National Athletic Training Month, we're continuing our little mini series with athletic trainers who are in non-athletic settings. So we are here today with Zoe Quirk-Royal. So Zoe, if you'll just tell us where you work and what your job title is, that would be great.
Sure. So as she said, I am Zoe. I currently work at the Charlotte International Airport as a injury prevention specialist supervisor. So I work with a company called Work Strategies, which is a subsidiary of Select Medical.
Okay, great. So we'll get into kind of your day-to-day in a second, but just tell us a little bit about, your background as an athletic trainer, where you've been and how you got started.
Sure. So I received my bachelor's in athletic training from the University of South Carolina. I then pursued my master's at UNC Chapel Hill. While I was there, I worked with the UNC wrestling team and club sports. When I left UNC, I worked with a hand surgeon as a physician extender for about a year. And then I moved up to Charlotte and started working with the Work Strategies team.
Awesome. So kind of went, away from athletics initially. So just tell us about what your current job looks like, things you do on a daily basis and what you do.
Sure. So a typical day around here can mean a lot of different things. We have different services that we offer, workstation like analyses, different ergonomic assessments, job coaching. We do new hire classes with everyone, teaching lifting techniques, things like that. So it depends a little bit what's on the schedule. But every day we do stretch sessions with the different teams in the different break rooms. And then we always have the clinic open for people to come in. If they have any injury, we do both work and personal injuries. So if they have any discomfort whatsoever, they're welcome to come see us, and someone is always available to chat with them.
Awesome. And who are your main clients? I mean, are you working with like TSA? Are you working with, the people who, I don't know, ticketing people who work for the airlines?
Sure. So we are contracted through American Airlines. So any American Airlines employee, whether you're a flight attendant or you work on the ramp loading the planes, ticketing agent, whatever you do for American Airlines, you are welcome to come see us.
Awesome. Do you get any good travel perks?
Unfortunately, no, I do not get any travel perks, and I hear about it all the time, and everyone's going places, but sadly I am not.
Well, maybe someday, maybe we can get there. All right, awesome. So, I know I did my master's at Carolina too. So I know you probably were sort of immersed in sports there. And I know, you don't have it sounds like you didn't work too much in sports after graduating. But just based on that, I mean, what are the biggest differences between, what you do now day to day and kind of what, probably most of your schooling was sort of centered around?
I would say the biggest difference is probably first that it's just general population. It's so different from working with athletes. You get different things, and sometimes it's super simple stuff. Just tight hamstrings, something like that. And people are just unaware of what to do about it. So it's a completely different population to be working with. Their knowledge level is very different from being in athletics. Mm-hmm. And then, we have less of your post-op cases. So someone's not going to come in and you're going to be working with them for 6 months in a return to play program. It's more of your one-offs, or if someone gets injured, you might see them for a few weeks, but then if it's something that's serious and they will be operated on, they generally go to a physical therapy clinic.
Okay, great. So, the next question is, as an athletic trainer, kind of, looking back at, your education, your schooling, I mean, I'm guessing you feel pretty prepared, and well suited, but do you feel like maybe changes could be made to, kind of some of the educational components, now that athletic trainers are going in these more diverse directions? I mean, are there things that might make you more suited coming out of college or your master's program for this type of position?
I think the biggest thing is the ergonomic assessments. There's a bunch of measurements, suggestions, different keyboards, computers, distances, all these things that you have to know. And I did take a class on it after having left athletics, which helped me a lot. I think it's a great jumping off point for anyone that's interested in doing ergonomic assessments. But it is a completely different side to athletic training that you probably don't have experience in unless you specifically seek it out.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. I know very little about, the distance my keyboard is. I could probably benefit from some of that.
Yeah.
After the past couple of years. So, I just kind of like to ask, where do you see athletic training going in the future? It seems like these, sort of more diverse job opportunities are popping up. What's kind of your vision for the profession in the next 5-10 years?
I think athletic trainers being in the corporate setting has been an incredible thing. And especially, hate to go back to it again, but those ergonomic assessments at desks, even in a sedentary situation, your Google, I know, is starting to hire more athletic trainers, not necessarily your industrial sites, but even just places with sedentary populations. They still need help. They're still experiencing discomfort. So getting athletic trainers in there and letting them do their thing, especially because athletic trainers, I think in general, are so great with education that, those sites can benefit from having someone on site with them.
Great, absolutely. And then my last sort of, specific question is, what advice do you have, for somebody looking to get into this corporate setting? I know you talked a lot about ergonomics, so educating yourself about that, I'm sure, would be something. But even just from like a transition standpoint of, okay, I'm sort of in this really fast-paced, like, sports environment, and now I'm going to go to something totally different. Like, what else do people need to know if they're making that transition?
I think the best way to do it is honestly to try and get yourself a PRN position. Even though you may not have time, if you think that there's a day or, somewhere that you could fit it in, or just even give a few hours, I think that it's a really good way to see the way that things run. And I've been at other on-sites that do things completely different. I really like the things that we do here. I do feel like it does keep the pace up a little bit. There's more of a rhythm than some other places that I've been. But that being said, it's a complete shift, regardless of the way you look at it. So PRN's a good way to kind of get your feet wet and see if it's something that you're potentially interested in, and then going from there.
That's awesome advice. I didn't even think that there would be potential PRN opportunities. Where would people find these? Or just on NATA or?
NATA, I know they're posted on NATA. I believe Indeed.com.
Okay.
I believe they're posted on there. There was another one that I saw recently. Select Medical specifically, I know has like a careers page. I'm not sure about some other on-site innovations, maybe, I think has a page. But there's different areas to look for them, and I'm sure Google can find it, but
like everything else, I know. Yeah. All right, awesome. Well, that is great information. So just kind of to close, is there anything else you want to share about your position, what you do, what you like, what you don't like?
I think just being like open to new experiences. I think it's very easy to come into a position like this. And for the first little while, I kind of thought, I was like, I'm using half my brain. Like there's some days where I'm like, I'm not sure that I utilized all of my skills to the fullest today. But then there's some days where something will get thrown at you, just like in athletics, that you're like, okay, we're going back to the books. We're looking in the journals. We're going to have to really find the answer on this and seek it out. But everyone's just so appreciative of you being there, your willingness to help, and the fact that, someone might come in that has never even thought about the name of muscles before, and that you have to take the time to educate them and really start at ground zero. Everyone's always so appreciative of the time.
Awesome. Great. Well, that is all I have. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk with us. And we will be sharing this video on our social media and on YouTube.
Amazing. Thank you.
Of course.